I do not really have any problems making masculine cards, but time to time I like to go online to look for some ideas and inspirations. And most of the time what I find are these stereotypical monotone cards, often using pattern paper. Not that there is anything wrong with those, but I find them a little bit outdated. Maybe I'm searching wrong. When it comes to masculine cards, I like them to have a little bit of color, and especially I like them to be fun. I cannot be the only one who doesn't like this type of cards, so I thought I will make some kind of series where I show different types of masculine cards. Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. For those who are new here, my name is Katarina. In today's video and next few videos, I will be making masculine cards, or more like my take on masculine cards, because these cards can be given pretty much to anybody, but I like to make these type of cards especially for the men in my life. My masculine cards have sort of the same idea. I like to create either full or partial background using background stamps, geometric stamps, or individual stamps, especially those tiny stamps that are included in many stamp sets. I also like to use stencils. They create really cool backgrounds and are inexpensive. And to add color to my backgrounds, I like to use watercolors or distress inks, either to add a little pop of color or to create a full colorful background. And then I just add a sentiment, but most of the time I like to add some kind of a stamped image, some kind of a critter or similar, like monsters or robots. The stamp sets I like to buy are usually cute, but mostly fun. But the stamp sets you choose depends completely on you and your taste and the person you're making the card for. I will be using some of these stamp sets in my next few cards, so you can get the idea of my type of masculine cards. Maybe I try to do some geometry cards as well, that might be fun. But do not focus on the stamp sets, but focus on the whole idea of the card, because most of the time you can do something similar with completely different stamp set. Before we start, if you are not subscribed to my channel and don't want to miss any of these cards, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Don't worry, I do not show my face in every video. Alright, so here is a quick look at the supplies. I'm using a stamp set from Gerda Steiner Design with a bunch of guinea pigs, but any stamp set with a big stamp and some smaller stamps will do. To color the images, I'm using Prisma pencils. I also have a stencil, distress inks, and I will be also using a texture paste. If you would like to see the full list of supplies, just hop over to my blog. The link you will find in the description below. Here is the stamp set. I'm going to use the guinea pig in the top left corner, and I'm also going to use the stamps with the 2 leaves and the tomato. I love stamp sets like these with lots of images because you can make so many cards. One of them I already used. It was part of my Valentine's Day cards. If you want, you can check it out. I stamped the guinea pig with the VersaFine ink in Onyx Black. For the guinea pig, I used a stamping tool, but for the smaller images, I just used acrylic blocks. I needed to stamp few of them, and this way it was just easier and quicker. Next, I colored the guinea pig. The exact colors I used you can find over on my website. I wanted the guinea pig to be multicolored, with some spots in dark brown and some in orange brown. Also, I was thinking making the bowl red, but since the tomatoes are red, I chose blue. I will show you the whole coloring of the guinea pig and some of the little images. I also sped up the video so it's not too boring for you, and I will play a little bit of music and talk to you once I'm done. After I colored all the images, I used my scissors to fussy cut them. I'm not 100% sure, but I think this stamp set does have coordinating dies, but I did not buy them. To be honest, even though fussy cutting is rather boring, it's not too difficult to cut them out with scissors. Also, I forgot to mention the cardstock I used for the stamping and coloring is the Bristol cardstock from Canson. Next, I worked on the background. I'm using a cardstock from Paper Mill Direct. It's a UK company. I bought a bunch of cardstock there a few years ago. If you don't have this cardstock, all you need is a cardstock that is good for ink blending. I also cut the cardstock slightly smaller than the card base. I do it all the time, I just find it easier to adhere. Then I stamped the sentiment. I already made this card once for my husband's birthday, but this card is for Father's Day. I searched my stash and I found a sentiment for Father's Day that is in the right size. I do sound like I have too many of them, but actually I have only 2 Father's Day sentiment stamps and the other one was way too small. I stamped the sentiment at the bottom of the cardstock, again using the VersaFine ink in Onyx Black. You might think it's too early to be making a Father's Day card, but in Germany, Father's Day is tomorrow. And by the way, if you need a quick and easy card for Father's Day, check out my previous video. Next, I worked on the background. I wanted to add a little bit of color using distress inks. I picked the Wild Honey Distress ink and with a blending tool, I covered the top part of the cardstock, mainly the area where the guinea pig is going to be adhered. The blending wasn't perfect, I had some blotchy spots, but once the images are adhered on top of it, you will hardly see it. Once the piece was dry, I used this starry stencil. It's an old stencil from Simons' Stamp. I bought it ages ago. Actually, it's been years since I shopped at Simons' Stamp. If I find some alternatives, I will definitely put them into the product list. I secured the cardstock with a painter's tape so it doesn't move, and then I placed the stencil over it. I secured it with the painter's tape at the top and the bottom, and then I picked an embossing paste from Old and New. I bought it a few months ago. I was so happy to find it on Seven Hills Crafts, because I do have something similar. I have the texture paste from Ranger, but it's still in a storage in Germany. If you don't know, I moved to Sweden and I still have a bunch of stuff in Germany, including my crafting stuff, and we are not planning to go to Germany anytime soon. And this embossing paste is in a big jar. It will last me for a long time. Anyways, I used my palette knife to spread the paste across the stencil, and once I was happy with the distribution of the paste, I removed the stencil and I cleaned it right away because I don't want my stencil to be ruined. I let texture paste to dry, and after it was dry, I adhered the images. I'm using here 2 types of double-sided foam tape. The smaller squares are slightly higher, and I use them on the guinea pig and the tomatoes and the smaller leaves. First, I adhere the guinea pig, and then I adhere the leaves and the tomatoes. I started by placing them in a circle, just to make sure I'm actually creating a circle. But what you can do, you can use a compass or a cup and draw a circle using a pencil. You will not see the pencil lines because it's going to be covered by the leaves. But do this after or before you apply the embossing paste, because I tried to do it before the ink blending and I could not see the lines at all. So I adhere the leaves and few of the tomatoes. I only use 3 of the tomatoes just to bring a little bit of additional color to the wreath. I think creating a wreath using the salad leaves and the tomatoes was such a good idea. I'm calling this card the guinea pig salad wreath. Anyways, lastly, I adhere the panel on top of a card base for which I used a craft cardstock. And the card is finished. I really love this card. I smile every time I look at it. I hope you get the idea about how I approach my masculine cards, and I hope you will try something similar. As I said, you can use any stamp set that includes a big stamp and bunch of smaller stamps and create a wreath with those smaller stamps. If you like this card, I would really appreciate if you gave this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done so already. If you don't have stamps and need a quick and easy card for Father's Day, then I would recommend trying out my previous card with mountains or scroll through my channel for more inspiration. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.